Tashidele, Khenchen La, Khenpo La, Lama Gongchig La, all translators into different languages, Vietnamese, Russian, Chinese, Spanish, and German. Welcome everybody to this wonderful teaching again today. So let's start with the program with the Mind Mandala offering.
Hoàn toàn giải thoát khỏi những ràng buộc của chân và huyễn, siêu vượt danh tự và các tướng của sinh diệt và trụ, siêu vượt đi và đến, lấy và bỏ mạnh Đà La tối thượng chính là cảnh giới tâm nguyên sơ. Chúng con xin dâng cúng tất cả và qua đó nguyện cho chúng con được gia hộ để đạt đến cảnh giới Phật.
Completely liberated from the bound of real and unreal, transcending the name and attribute of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and deny, the supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Diwa Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratisha Soha.
Sanje Chodan Soje Chonam Lai Chanchum Padu Dane Japsunji Dagi Jinso Jimbe Zonamji Dola Benjire Sanje Dumbar Sho Sanje Chodan Soje Chonam Chanchum Padu Dane Japsunji Dagi Jinso Jimbe Zonamji Dola Benjire
Until the attainment, I take refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By the merits of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Donghe dan donghe judan jebra juruje donghe mebe dewa tamen jebra juruje nyeren chadan nyedan danyum la nebra juruje ma namga danyambe sunje damche dewa dan deve judan demba juruje donghe dan donghe je judan jebra juruje donghe mebe dewa menjerwa juruje nyeren chadan tarve danyum la nebra juruje.
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May the rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Chanze wadan jujen shaba wadan jesu yerang gujen suwa ye gewa jungse dagi jesa tamche zobe chanchu chemburu.
Whatever slight virtues have accumulated through prostration, offering, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and requesting, I dedicate it all for the sake of complete enlightenment.
Saje beju juje medoran rirolin ne de jembande sanje shendu meide purwai droke namdo shendu jebra shu gozo yonzo lame zonam la chena sanzum de jin ni jin chu dalu longjo nasi yongje la men joge ngudu zandu guru dewa kin rena mendala bardeza soha.
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and stained with flower. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and the moon. As a Buddha feel I offer it, may all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddhahood. To the lamas who possess the three kais, I offer the outer, inner, and the secret offerings with my body, wealth, and all that is visible. Please grant me the supreme realization enlightenment.
Samje namje sambadha loye chedra jedrawa chejung timon tebai chejeng gulo gurdu so.
Please turn the wheel of Dharma, of the greater and lesser vehicle, and the teaching common to both, according to the disposition and mental capacity of the sentient beings.
Gongchig gurve jamsu jesu rongsheng gara gawa le dhawran zebe gaju rinpoche jeba nambra tabe jenjen chenlab je chuju jatsu chenbe yandra se meje je molam ja chewa yunruwa lanje drube druje rimma mebe lama tamba namla chan zarjen chudu jebsun jewo chenje labran zedu su dorjen changwan delo naroda malmada babarin jidengu garen sunden zawe lama shawo zaju lama yedam juzong la surwan devzo da ju chenje lo chenze ngada denpa do sanje gandar mongo barden lamara shar tuji ran jen tarbe lam damba yongzen shenye namla gu jan zar lada lame mamje wongbo dang jarjin lao su chuje chola chawa cheba nam sanje sonra rabdo shishen dewe jujiru Tibetan chiji tambe chunyen baryan drishi namgada nyambe simje tamje je tundu tobja lan namme bar yang tabra zobe sanjiji kumbang tamba chine jen tobra cha 대체도 담배 추 사물라 추진도 주버 지워 냠베 삼바찬 준초도 레브레서는데 셈브르슈 텔란들 간지 셈브르 제베 추데 테네 다탄다 담배 추 공바지베기 용 어디니 임바레다 텔라양 테네 좀된 예벤나네 테네 간조 좀다 주바 다금 주베 좀 텐데 시버르 집에 갑 대임바레
For the sake of all sentient beings, try to, in order to get enlightenment, for the sake of all sentient beings, and try to get listen for the Gongchig with the altruistic mind, and so forth. And here we have 7 units of the Gongchig, and we are here right now at the unit, the vital point of the view, meditation, and conduct.
다 되네 공직이 다 좀 다금 주변 안에 되는 것도 돌송대 앞에 제 돌송 쭉지 받으러와 다 단다 주백으로 쓴 거여와 다 가생 되네 주백깔라 곰 써야 되는 거 주는다와 당연도 남중 곰 쓰듯잖아요 지 surdu thane goya yoba pandagu ji samantangro te mare ko to deba tegarang gomguro te komje chiadla gombas te kasan shu simbache na tereng jeballandro tawa sutem seda te imba jujiba na tende indu zane tane jeballandro tawa sutem so indu zane dila tane kyungge jeballandro tawa sutem seda ko jigdang Tene yang tumu mayin begi ji gongchigi yang jebalando tawa saya tinni la ti ji ko mandawa ji yong yore kai san namju jedangi namju karsung gu yore sen ke ba shendagi ta jebal na ne jeban tartu ba the langdo da tawa tres labdu jane kar langdo tar gu resena ta ngone tartu gu jebala gewan diresene naya yo mares Diban dendre지에서는 빵야요 말이스. 대인도잖아요. 콜랑도로 탐제다 차와래 해야지. 다 dendre지기 통해 엔드시는 거예요. 다단다 체주 공직이 원도 제인도잖아요. 나랑 저더니 레 당부백값을 있나인다. 또베기 냠니 첸 톰볼라 페백값 있나인다. 강들양 다동 딕바 랑초 말이스. 게와 도르초 말이스. dendre지는 되시는 거인데. lang se ni zane namjun keba shenda ge sung de zane ji jeban chebar jing jeban tombola ya pyeon de zane gewa lang ya meba deba do ya meba as lang do chawa sung ge ro 당단 지든 송공게 레 당보바 이나엔다 또반 통보라 팽팽 이나를 수이나양 다동 디바데 랑초 마레스 나타완 통보유 세네 디발라나 디마레스 나타완 통보유 세네 게와 돈난 디마레스 디인두 다동 게디 랑둘라 시프란난고레스 다디 점세 가르치는 차용어레 생그자네 게와단 디바세야데 레깅오르와 인두자네 레세야티기 체주데 가르창고르스나 플루아메바세야 창고르와 쿠랑게 체주 ngo마데 차신이 창고르 레람 레세야데 마 데운테 마레 레게와단 디바 마젠켄라 데우 데와다 도멘 테기 마레 티인두 레 마제바다 멘테바세야 지당 제바이나 제바 추메사와 세야지 수이 제바이나요 데라 제부탁다 민게레세야 다 티인두 레세야들라 차신이 데 창고르 마제바다 멘테바 제바 추메사와 세야데 디 인두자네 데네지 또베게 냠네 체 마오 레 당보바 이나인다 또베 냠네 체 톰볼라 페딩게 이나인다 강드리양 레세야드 솔레 이나이고 물루바지 인두자네 데네 아 가두이나양 랑두르 타와지 구레스 디발랑와 타와 게와 토르자다 타와 안도나 카레스나 데츠팀레스 게닝게 츠팀 게츠르고 츠팀 게롱고 츠팀 따티숨보 강야로마티 네버드 구레스 주바양 타발라 데마도 데네 베타완 통보 유세네트네 주반 담한다 제바이나 데 주바양 타가 차금 마레스 데송바레.
So here the 11th verses of Lord Gyaltsen maintains that the conduct that is free from adopting and rejecting is discipline. So usually here when we talk about the discipline, and also when we talk about the, like for example, the discipline that is kind of like avoiding, and one is the discipline which is to be accepted, right things to be accepted, and avoid the non-virtuous things. So usually in general term, many scholars, they stated that when you become a very kind of a high level of understanding and a very high level of state, we become out of, which is accepting and which is non-accepting. Beyond that means on the level of the emptiness. Whereas here in Gongchig, what it talks about is that it doesn't matter whether you have this or not. The point is whether you are a beginner or you are a highly realized person. The abandonment is an abandonment, and the one which should be practiced for the virtues should be the virtues. So usually what happens is sometimes people think that when you're in a high realized state, then you are allowed to do something. But what Lord Gyaltsen stated is there is no allowance for anybody if that is non-virtuous, even if you're in a high stage or in a high state. Why? Because whatever the virtues is virtues at the same time, even at the level of the high state, in the same way as in the lower state. For example, you are the beginner, is the same for the beginner as well as the same for the high realized person, because it is the karma. So the karma will never deceive us, because once we have accumulated the causes and condition, the consequences is bound to happen. Doesn't matter whether you are beginners or you are the expert practitioners or you're on the high stage. So therefore, what Lord Gyaltsen stated is the karma will not differentiate whether you are a highly realized person or lower person. It is bound to happen. If you have accumulated the causes, the consequences is bound to happen. So therefore, it is stated that we should always be like following the righteous path, or we should know that even even if you practice non-virtues at the higher stage, then we have to face the consequences. So there is no excuse for everybody. So therefore, like whether you have like a novice vows, or you have a like upasak vows or whatever, so if that is non-virtuous, then it's non-virtuous, same non-virtuous for the like higher realized person as well as for the beginners. So there's no differences between. So here, what Lord Jesus stated is there's no difference between the karma for the beginners and the higher state.
다 띵이 전에 tani kuma jetsu melegi chongdu tani nyame gambupa pewe kabla tani gambupa la ta damga chachang nang jetsu mele tani toba chachang ngondu chur tani ta taburum buche pa durja jesun zaya chedu tani penro warwata tani jetsu mele kare sombaresna da churang tani ji 야 산제 토리알 레와 먹어 차와 있나양 당문에 지 또방문도 줄 살와 있나양 다도 레 메게와 차싱 차와네 말탄데 게와 차싱 차와네 룹구레스 마도 어땅가 또방 저도 주변이 차례 산제 고마 토사틴도 게와 룹고요 말에서 안도 근데 지야요 말에서 틴도 게와 차싱 차와네 룹구레스 게와 추문 룹구레스 에나젠도 테네다단데 말 녀송라 로야게 되네 도바 짜와네 메바 차차와 있는 양 다동 메게와 차신 차와는 점고레스 사정 엄마데 테레송도와 티인도 전에 되네지 살람게 도바 가세 토와 있는 양 라동 게와 드야당 디바 빠야게 토라 콜랑들 파빠야테 메바 임바로와 티인도 랑드로당 뎀베게 되네 추팀라 네고레소 야튼 레송도와 대지래 드네드나 진다다 로번 빼만 중내기 송지가나 가르송여서나 따위 제수 제바 마슈르와지 제고레스 제베 제수 따와 마슈르와지 제고레스 대송여레 대송도자는 가르송여서나 먼저 따와서야 되나 지다 디 두구레 디 빵고레 세야게 남도지 유사와이나 디 따와 양다 차이 말와 디인디 전에 따와텔라 랑두르 짜와는 메바 게와 랑잔 데레세야 당 데과 도잔 데레세야 기고 남도 그 뚜바 탐제다 차와지 차와 이나양 쥐바야 디난신 지나다 강정 만주 제고 야보 토나 야보 도보 토나 도보 가리나 제자와 이나 지바 고마레선 트린 담나 mambo 제자와 이나 데따웨 제수 쥐바 쇼로 와서야 데레스티 야보 마레스 디인디 전에 따웨 제수 쥐바 쇼르지요 마레스 대나지 주베 제소야 따와 추르셔야요 말했습니다. 전에 주발라야데 가세이네 야부 제고레스 준부 제고레스 tumbu 제고레스 얘네야 따와야 디나신 제제와 얘네 따와도 돌아차그레스 어떤데 인도 전에 되는 거지 따와 따웨게 돈은 주베게 돈은 고난지 좀시 제로 왔다 인도 직서 소소소소고 따다지가나 되는 로토가 지난 거레스 어떤데 송도와 디인도 전다 대단 tum버 지는 되는 제대 송공기 되네 제발 랑도다 잡아다 주템 양타발 내야데 제가 야쇼레 뇨라제요 말을 소말다.
So then and also here's one story that when during the time of Milarepa and when Phamodrupa was Phamodrupa has received all the pitch instructions from Milarepa, and he has enough practice, and also he was well stabilized on the meditation practice, and he's able to go for the further for his own practice and to help other sentient beings, to help for the other sentient beings. So that time when he was about to leave the master, and what the Milarepa said was that even if you almost become a Buddha, we should not like give up the small things like practicing the virtues and avoiding the non-virtues, because usually sometimes people think that we take, when you feel that you're about to enlighten, then you feel that it's okay, whatever you do is okay. So what the Milarepa said is it's not okay. We should try to avoid the subtlest of the subtlest non-virtues, and also the non-virtues which can lead you to the downfalls. And also sometimes, like for example, if you are convinced that you will not go, you will not go for the downfall, even though you should not practice that, these subtle non-virtues. But at the same time, you should practice the subtle virtues deeds. And also so therefore, and at the same time, the Guru Padmajuna from Sambhava also stated that one should not go after the views by one's own practice and one's own conduct, and also the view should not go after the conduct. The reason why is that even if you have a highest view, you should not act as you have a highest view and you just act like whatever you like. So we should not act crazily, like thinking and taking into granted that you have the highest view. And also, even if you have a highest view, your character or your habits or your character or your conduct should be compromising with the society and so on and so forth. And at the same time, your view should not go after the conduct, because so here when you are having a highest view, at the same time you try to compromise with the lower kind of view, then it doesn't work. So therefore, what the Guru Padmasambhava stated, that one should not go one's own conduct after the view, and view should not go after the conduct. This is what it says. This means it stated that one's own practice should be, one's own conduct should be go beyond which is to be accepted and which is to be avoided. So this is what it is needed. So in the middle way, we have to follow that. Our conduct should be beyond adopting and refusing.
다테네 디제소 도수 중이바데 따금지선 타데메 버지 손도 다양 니 가르송 것도 전에 난저 따와단 곰바 쮸바세야기 따치기솜도 토연솜 여러와 티엔데 전에 테네 따금지솜 세야데 지 카가이만 저지 근데 선도나야 티안데 말레스 따금지솜 네지가 파바지 고레스 콘조 타데 말레스 타데 말레스 손도 전에 칸데레 손도 따와데 다 가선 공도 쉬바나신 테네 고르와다 냥에는데 왜 주 탐체데 랑게 섬그랑신바 샘대양 테네지 이메 자데 차제 징부랑신바 테네지 또버틀 따와 송거와 나 된다고 따와 대라 양는 양도 테네 곰지 제와틀 곰바스 마도 따와디 바야네 현다지 고면 매버와 텐드자네 따웨 강 또바테 곰베테 곰고르다 텔 곰지 땡고르와 테네 쥐바세야 대야 디 곰지테 여젠도야 당 곰지테 로바 칭게들 쥐바세게 난조 곰베기 봉된서로 야제 땅킹다 케이스와 tenzo tsangma de gyöba ge zo yong gyo re de ndu zane ne tawa dang gomba gyöba sumbo de tademe ba jigba res de ndu de ne lobon lodu ge khare sumba res na 추tem 매버 양네 시랍 매버 양네 추tem 매 송도 대두군 내가 지과 임비 좀 생래 추tem 양 타바지 매 송아이나 따와 양 타바지 줄에 제투 마레스 따와 양 타바지 줄에 제 마토 송아이나 추tem 양 타바지 차투 마레스 딩도 콘수 니보데 베낭은 딘난신레 신인들의 찍을 찍대는 야 랑샤와 난신 Kesi Xingni the Ya Jig the Jip in a Lang Yuna. Jig the reason, Jig the Rendure, Jig the reason, Jig the Rendura. In a Consuniga Marine, this is there you want to Tadachico, the Shing the Laya, Lega Karina, got the Lega and Duptura, or Tina Jane Duzane, the Tawadam Gumba Juba Sumbote, Tade Meva, Ne Jiglam Baptugures, or Tisumbre.
The 12 Vajra verses, the view, meditation, and conduct are not distinct but one. So here, when it talks about the view, as we have stated that what is the view? View is the, like one could able to see the reality of the mind, ultimate reality of our mind, and one which familiarized, and one will go on and on, try to habituate with that understanding is the meditation. And also the conduct is the one which could able to try to develop or try to grow that view, which has been going on and on over again and again, developing that and try to develop that and try to avoid the obstacles and then try to support or try to complement that kind of view is known as conduct. So therefore, it is also stated that the Nagarjuna stated that if there is no if there is no vows, we should not behave like the view without having the vows and the vow without having the views. So these views and the vows has to go together. And these three things, the view, conduct, the view, meditation, and conduct, it has to go together, complementing each other or supporting each other. Like if there's two wood like this, standing and supporting each other, if one falls off, then other will automatically fall down. In the same way, these three things, view, meditation, and conduct, these things are actually supporting each other like this. It has to go together. It has to support each other. It has to be integrated together. Therefore, it is stated that the view, meditation, and conduct are not distinct, but one.
다 되네 대지라 돌지 송 죽송 바테기 차신 추름 내지 체벌 추 송도와 단디 지된 송고 체주양 투문 많이 바시세 기타 공지 차상 체주래 대나네 체주 물도 템바 네다 대임바래 대인도 남중 나란소 다지 망보 지기 섬노 당당이나 인다 계제 시단라 네 카레요레 센두 네 차자 진보 스두전에 빼 사보지 담가이나야 토비아 칼레 카보 소소군의 냠낸 제양 칼레 카보 계시지 냠낸디 제투바이나 데네다 베지 인데우 체 통보지 토야 이바나 신선도 당으로 저단 텐데로와 데네 추름 세인도 전에 다지 하버도 먼저 게출 게니 게롱라소베 추름 소스터베 추름 세도 전에 데네야 고랑게 지 모대야 때에서 마오도지 소야야 다지 근데 그 우전에 송데 고야라고지 어떻게 전에 수점 세인도잖아 거기 유자 좋은로 지금 문진 조유로 대존도 자신의 수점이보데 모카가 제레카가 데부카가 다든지 some 방기르다 다단은 내내 지된 송공기 송 단지된 송공기 송바양제 조가 산지 좀 된데지 송바양제 대인도 가르 송바르서는 차친의 수점이보다 내가지 바래서 도단 단ям을 송바다 차진세야도 따외기 차는리 주름세야도 주외기 차는 송용비율이 뒤인도 전에 된대게 따주니고 세고나인다 야나 차진의 주름이 세고나인다 뒤니보때 네 지바레스 펜나 잔 남칼은 부르기 쇼바 예연나진레 송게레 자질라 케시 펜나 쇼바 예바다부시 야부유 윤바다부테 지다 졸라차도 주네 지인바이나 고 남칼은 부르야 섬다레 대난신 윤바 야부유 예바 야부메나 남칼은 부르야 섬다로와 부르투마와 대지르다 남칼라 빼지 깔레 메바 데오지는 부르구요나 쇼바 예윤 이바 니가데 누반 다냠 유바직당 tene thola ma chawa chi yang ta ba ji gu yo ro pe tin na shin chene tawe ge thone chakchen ge tawa toba tenje jule nye debe ge tawa chi yebe ge tengdo tene jube ge chane soso tarbe ge tsurim yang tawa yo denken chi mantala yang genye ge tsurim yang tawa la tene ne denken chi tende ji gu yo res tende wo chakchen de tsurim ni de ji songcher ge thone nyamsun len toba yina tene dewu sanji ge komba se tab dewu cha yung res ti ji du zane chakchen de tsurim ni bo de tartu ge babsa chigla phab gu res ngoyan jiware chakchen yang megewa pangwa gewe ge rajin re sutum yang megewa pangwa gewe rajin re dewu ya jiware chakchen la tene dewu tartuwa sanji ge kumbang re sutum la tene dewu tartuwa sanji re kasanga dun durwe kasu songzwa di durwa tamchen chimbi yishi yin sungbarwa dedu sutum de tamchen chimbi sanji ge yishi sutum de yin sungbar de는 tartu yundu zane sanji ge yishi re dendu 제우 차나야 지바레 근데 주의 차나야 지바레 착ချင်း게 또가 양타바 주의를 제버 제발라 라마 양타바 지라 무규체도 침바지 고요레 수름 양타바지 차야라 라마 체다 된바지라 무규 양타바지 고요레 dendu 전에 된제게 토네 근데 착친당 수름니보데 모wo 주 제우 되나신 젤레 니가게 젤레데 지번 녀문 바파 뽕으로 집에 지레로 텐드 전에 겔레 간지 돈에 내가 찍라 바빠 지인 거레스 된다고더니 자친 수tum 내 찍라 증캔데 단지된 송고 마도 요 말에서는 배제 라만 되기로 라마 공만남비 자친 수tum 내 찍라 쯔쯔게 여러데 이나야 지 카세우 돈에 중센의 집에 돈을 사실 난게는 제된 송고 차용도 전에 그런 제된 송고 제주 차로 그러데
Here, the 13th Vajra verses, Mahamudra and discipline have a single vital point. This is Jiddu Sungmin's unique teaching. So, as we have stated last time, a few points about it. It means about the Mahamudra and the vows, has the same vital importance, has the same status or same points. Usually what we have in our mind is that when people talk about the Mahamudra, we think about the very highest level of talk. We think about the highest states. We think about if we practice this one highest level of things, and it's like, we should be able to have a highest level of, the result, and so on. And when we talk about the vows, we look down upon that, and we talk about, its nature is a little bit lower. It has a lower quality, and its activities and its, the character and so forth, such kind of lower. This is how we take it usually. And what Lord Gyaltsen stated is, no, this is completely misunderstood. These two things, Mahamudra and the vows, are actually the same important, has the same importance, whether it is whether it's their actions, whether it's their character, or whether it's their the result, the same. And also the Buddha has stated the same thing, and it is something like that. For example, if these two things has the same importance, same birds wings, two wings of the birds. For example, if the birds were to fly, they have to have two wings. Without having the two wings, they couldn't fly. If there is a defect on the one, in either one of the side, it's defect, then the bird couldn't fly. So therefore, the both side has to be level, and has to be kind of to level us, have to be the same status, and has to be in a condition to fly. So therefore, these two things, Mahamudra and vows, whether there's Mahamudra and the vows are the same thing. So for example, with the vows and with the Mahamudra, the highest views and also with the practice, with the conduct, whether the conduct is like kind of a like individual conduct, unless for the, at least you have to have a like kind of the novice vows in order to attain the Buddhahood. So with this practice, having this Mahamudra and you're having these vows, then only you can attain the Buddhahood. For example, it is the same kind of their nature. The vows, for example, what is their nature? Their nature is the virtuous nature. For example, even the Mahamudra's nature is the vow, the virtuous action, the virtue, and also the vows has the nature of virtue. And for example, like it's the result is also to become Buddha or to all-knowing Buddha. So whether it's Mahamudra or whether it's vows, their ultimate result is to attain the Buddhahood. And also, if you talk about their causes and conditions, their causes and condition is also the faith, or to like a devotion to their master, the unwavering devotion, as we have talked last time. So their devotion is also like having an ultimate devotion. Their causes is also the devotion to their masters, and in the right way. And their activities also same, because their activities is to allow to practice the virtuous one and try to avoid the non-virtuous one. So from this point of view, these Mahamudra and vows has the same status according to the Lord Jigten Sumgyen. And so far, from all these masters except Buddha, Jigten Sumgyen is the one who tried to make it so unique of these teachings that the Mahamudra and discipline or the vows are the same status.
단 딘데 드네 차체인데 좀 내지바테 산제기 공부 임베 좀 생양 드네 산제기 탄다 도 땡인증이 제분도 나와 드네 가르송 말에서는 드네 도 땡인진 세인도선 또 차자 첨부기 시 송거와 땡도 차자 첨부기 드네 따와 양다바지 줄라 제다 메제세야데 수tum 양다 유밀라리 요송도와 텐도 수tum 답변 고라 텐두데 손에 수tum 답부 연경이 강사직이 줄라 드네 차자 첨부기 땡인증이 제보대양 요레스 대송도 전에 답배지 차ချင်း기 또배기 예시세거나 한다 땡인진 대 드네 배 수tum 양다 받은 제와슈 첨부 요가지 디송용도와 땡인진 제본도나 드네 디나신도 단단디 외송규시변 도가나라 외송규시변도디 배치 권직기 권초직변난 도지그래 땡인도 외송규시변도나 가르송 말서는 드네 계시 주라 드네 제다 드루안의 송배 gelongdang geturgi chamna sobat nechigi tola tesji ta song chimroji songkaje ya semgnala dangjin dang denjin shuk chimbo tendeji ye ngape ta churum changma yin samne ngaje shuk chimbo tendeji ye ba yina churang ge churimde churim mada ba chanru res tin dane churim yang ta ba ji chagu yona churang songwe ge churim thela tawa yang ta ba ji gi ne simba gu res 어떤데 송요를 대인도 전에 다 디롱 디니 줄직줄 전에 상당도 전에 근데 자칭 좀 내지 있어야 대가는 바용도 어떤데 인도 전에 산재기야 다 도나는데 송만한 신전에 근데 이제 된 송공인데 다 제주원도 전도 자칭 좀 내지 제발 주셔야 대충하네.
And in additional that Buddha has stated in the the sutra, that is the Dhyana Sutra, Dhyana Raja Sutra. It is stated that the Mahamudra, Mahamudra, for example, in order to have a Mahamudra, to have the state of Mahamudra, a perfect state of Mahamudra, depends on one's own person, individual, that he has a fine conduct, a very like a perfect conduct, perfect vows or not. It depends on whether he has a perfect vows or not. And also, if you look about the sutra, which has like the like asking question by Kashyap to the Buddha, and it is stated that even if you have, like in the sutra, it's stated that even if you have good vows or practicing the good conduct, but somehow if your mind is overpowered by the ego, then it is stated that it's not a perfect vows or perfect practice of the sila. So therefore, in this kind of condition, it has to be associated. It has to be supported by the view of not grasping to that kind of such kind of a practice or such kind of vows. So usually what happens is people, when you are having a little practice of the vows, and you have an ego that you are practicing these and that and all this. So therefore, it shouldn't be here in this case. We should not have to have that. So therefore, this kind of vows should be corrected or to be purified by the right kind of views. The right kind of vows should be conducted by the right kind of views. So therefore, these two things, Mahamudra is associated with the like a right conduct, and right conduct should be associated with the Mahamudra. So therefore, these two things are in the same importance and the same status.
아니 단단디다 도성 주비시 받으러와 도성 주비시 받에 차신 연된 건지 단이 돼서야 돼. 단데네 파산로지 단로도 자는 건도 차자 첨부 세야 되라. 뭐그 전에 이어와서 개치야 요 말에도 있나야. 지다 먼저 셰야 단 예약이 주실 전에 직시에 운동하는 그 차친나 이어와 이제로지 제로와 이제 차자 첨부 세야지. 람 차자 첨부 세야지, 대우 차자 첨부 세야지, 텐소 숨가 시에자베기 빼차되라, 용 차자 첨부 세야지. 같은 데기 차칭 명 차자 첨부 유외기 내 당들가 되는 건도 이와 시엔로지 채용거로. 다되는 용 차자 첨부 디파 야고 숨으라기 초로와 빼체가 초로로 용 차칭 세게. 배는 건도인데 대중요 차칭 거기 대중요와 있는 게 차칭 유인 세계로와 원에 차제 전부는 요대야도 개요마다 있는 차칭기 빼차되게 차칭에서 랍되기로와 인류중 차칭에서 해야지. 딱 원에게 차제 전부 써야 되라다 예 람되고 숨쉬는 거로와 인류장에 되네 단 대우 차제 전부 써야 돼 배치 연den기 상신인 바데 주로 정말 배치 직주인지래 지과 연구래 대우 차칭에서도 주고를 고고로와 산지 주고 써야 되다 연대 탐제다 된 배상신지 인류장에 배치 제시자랑 지과를 때 이내양 이 자자 전부 써야 대돈의 상무지 당원도 전에더니 남주 가르세그레서는 이 차칭에서나인다 이 오마서나인다 이 조과 전부 써구나 간들 이세야 지로와 이 이데 난소 나랑 쪽에 갑라 이세게래 나랑 조 소소지고 갑기 semgeran신텔라 이 차칭에서나인다 예조친 선한다 예마선한다 된다 따사디 나랑서 semgeran신 되래 소수지구가 semgeran신 되라 이 인도장에 되네 텐데게 semgeran신데 되네 카셰게 송 인도장에 단단 나랑서 semgeran신나 산제기 연대 요 말에서 단단 나랑서 산제 말에 산제기 연대 요 말에서 이내야 단대게 semgeran신 될라 때네 마음바기 되네 연대인데 톱투그레스 다 두수 정보지기 돈다는 상황에 되는 대시지 나용 거예요. 된두 이 차자 진보 써야 돼. 연된 예바당 매백은 다 탐제다 자와레스. 데스지스게. 근데 람 차자 진보 써야 돼. 코로나 연된 요새 말이에요. 코로나 연된 dum케네 있어요. 그 람 차자 진보 때 냠술 랭도 전에 델라 때네 마음 바란데부터 그레스. 다 근데 상황도 전에 이제다 남기 자신이보다라 연대랑신 여반도 지금 대신한 것도와 다팅케바 지지기 처리로 지래
So here now, when you talk about the 14th Vajra verses, Mahamudra has the nature of all the qualities. It talks about the nature of Mahamudra. Actually, the nature of Mahamudra couldn't be talked. It's not something that we could talk about it because it's an emptiness and we couldn't talk that. But somehow, when you talk about it, we have to talk about it. And we talk about in the 4 categories, like the Mahamudra on the basis, and Mahamudra on the path, and Mahamudra on the result, and also the Mahamudra of the tax, or the text means in the sense the teachings that were compiled in the book and so forth. Usually the 4th one, the text, which we are known as the Vajra, this Mahamudra, it's not actually the Mahamudra, but we gave the name Mahamudra. Actually, this is just a text, but somehow we used to give the name the Mahamudra. So there is no question about when you talk about the result. Actually, the result Mahamudra is actually the nature of all qualities. There's no question about all the lineages of the in the Tibetan lineages, 4 lineages. So like the result Mahamudra is the Dharmakaya, and it consists, or it's endowed with all the qualities of the Buddhas and so forth. So there's no question about these things. But when you come in the terms of the base of Mahamudra and the path Mahamudra, there is some kind of a suggestion and statement there. So some of the scholars, they presented that during the time of our, when you are being in an ordinary sentient beings, so usually we take it about the mind of the nature of our mind is the nature of our mind in terms of the base, foundation, and in terms of the path is not it's not actually the quality of Buddha, but somehow when it goes in the future, after a lot of hardship and practice, then ultimately one is able to attain the Buddhahood. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the foundation, the base, and the path is not actually all the qualities is there. All the nature of all the qualities. It's not nature of all the qualities. So whether you talk about the Mahamudra, whether you talk about the Umapa or Dzogchen or whatever. So this is how they try to make a differentiation between all other scholars stated that the foundation and the path has not all the qualities. Only the last one, only the 3rd one, that is the result one, which is the Dharmakaya, has the nature of all these things.
Khenchen yignaranzu susu jiwo imbe kabla yang samgiran la sanjegi yunde yongsu zobate penna Nyima timbe dip debe kabla yang Nyima korano vezir yoyo kare ngaranzo penna zambul lengi nane suru shachogi jarkamda wajila Nyima de pa nupchogi jarkamda nrosona shachola Nyima vezir de pog marete yina ye Nyima korano vezir yoyo kare chado yorwa dinanshin chene ta tanda ngaranzo 남도당 녀몽 베기 timba tubu 지기더니 갑도 요래데 이나양 드네 니마란신기 심그란신테 데버시비 님부텔라 산제기더니 고당 이시 연대 탐체대 ranjin lundu gu suji kuna yores. Di indu zane, tene ji chaja chenpo yundenge dani res. Den nang jendo tene chaja chenpo saya tenyang, yila yobate lamdu lame ngote ne. Yi semgi ranjin te, sanji chugu yimbate lame ngote ne. Yudu zane, ten nyamsu lendu, nyamsu langjegi tene lamgi chaja chenpo tenyang, tene yunde ranjin lundu gu tene dani jinji res. Tene dewu kapsu, tako yunde tene sama ngondu churdu yorwa, o tene yinza yilam desumgi tene chaja chenpo tamche de, yunde ngi ranjin re mato pe kashe le yunde menge tene kya mara saya te sumbare.
So here now, what here at this point, what the Lord Jigten stated is that when we talk about the base or the foundation of the Mahamudra, it is not something which is like kind of empty and it's nothing there. It means when we talk about the base, it talk about our own mind, the ultimate nature of mind, which is the Buddha nature. So therefore, from this perspective, what Lord Jigten stated is that from the very beginning, at the base level, our mind has the nature of all the qualities. And in the same way, like, for example, like the sun is obscured by the clouds for the time being, but it doesn't mean there's no like kind of radiation for the sun or the sunlight is not there. It doesn't mean that. It's just temporarily being obscured by the cloud. Whereas it doesn't matter where the sun goes from east to west, if it shines there, but the sun has its own light. In the same way, our mind is never like kind of obscured by the so ignorant and so forth. Therefore, our mind, since on the base level, is with all the qualities, and at the same time here, even during the time of the path also, because when we are practicing this one, our path is also free from all these kind of qualities. So the path is also has the nature of all the qualities. Of course, there's no question about the result, because result, as we have taught, since it's a Dharmakaya, it has its all the qualities. So from this perspective, like when you are like from the very beginning, it is the Buddha nature. From the very base, it's Buddha nature, so it has all the qualities. And in terms of path, because you are practicing the Mahamudra, and it's the practicing Mahamudra in terms of, then it has all the qualities of that nature of all the qualities, and ultimately in terms of the result, it has its all the qualities. So it is for this reason that Lord Jigten stated that all Mahamudra has the nature of all the qualities in terms of base, in terms of path, and in terms of the result.
다 단다 공도 차자 첨부도 윤땡게 다니레스 나랑솔라 지 차자 첨부 요래 근데 인상 나랑솔라 산지게 윤데 차선 요래 대송바로와 다 대송도 자는 건도 삼노지 땅구로 산지게 윤데 요는 건도 강엔들의 가르친 양되게 요래 만주로 동엔들의 가르친 양되게 요래 난좀 코벤나 가르치는 참되게 요래서야 지기로와 이 인디자는 다 대라 되네 단단네 돌송 종아바다 주루반이 같은 대송용 거요. 다 뒤튼다대. 냐 가르송용 거요래 세인디산에 제단 나랑조 섬기라는 신데 산제 대야 현대 탐제된 같은 시 레드 요래데 이내 나랑조기 원남도 되기 되네 요르단 셰바스네더니 중진 이순진 다단신 이순진 텐두 야보텔라 따마시 두자 장장나 따대와 인정 코로안 참용거였대 프로용거였대 수드네 성경 오라 수다 신규 말에 파첼로라 성경 넘발라 따대요 텐두 테네 성경 넘발라 단 담다 마무 한기로 송송 가장 Kornde Chugun Rangi Samnang Zansung Barwa, Korwada Nyangene de Chun Damanda Shar Yungu Yurde, or Tendation and True Yungu Yurwa. Tati Chidu Zane, Rangla Yubegi, or Tane Yunten Tanzota, Peju Chetu Marte. Penna Tangbochigi, Korangi Kangbagi Watana, Tape Norwu Yanangul. 다 콜페 통출 망보인데 지 거기 강배 원래 여바 있나양 그때 여바 하마오나 꼭 방고 방장하시는 동해 양대 이러와 계속 그때 하고와 있는 그때 비주는 고추고 차로야 용도와 이나신 인도산에 나랑도 선별하신 산제 연대 군대 들지 레드 요르때 대인바 문제 마투 대인바 마시 대인바 마곰 근데 남도기 찜바토부 정책대도 전에 되네 자신 연대 란신 바되게 되네 마펜바 임바래 다 된다오디 연된도 주주 운동 줄이야라 다 가르고래 세야지로와 대지도자는 다디 연된 운동 줄이야라 이시기 초사는 검자고래 소놈게 초사는 저주고요래 대인도자네 단디 도성니보 되게 소놈고 초던 이시기 초니 사마토바이나 자신 연된게 다니 임바지고 개팽 말에 세야대 소는 거요래
So here above we have stated that the Mahamudra, the great Mahamudra, is endowed with all the qualities. Now here question arises: the Vajra verses 15 and 16 talks about the cautions, and it stated that if that is the case, if we have all the qualities, nature of all the qualities in terms of the Mahamudra and the base, and in the path, and also in the result, then why are we always in the problem? We are suffering all the time. We don't have to suffer that. If that is the case, and why do we have to suffer all this? This means here, generally, we all have our own Buddha nature, and also we have like a clear light and so forth. But somehow, because of our misunderstanding or the duality, part of duality, the oneself, self and others, and also the outer and inner objects. And also usually we don't look upon our inner quality. We are just looking to the outer object and try to collapse there and try to explain that and try to follow up the outer objects. And that's how we get collapse here. And we don't know the quality that exists within oneself. So this is the problem. And it's stated that, for example, it's like a poor person who has a jewel or the gold in their house underneath their home, but they don't understand. They have gold inside under their house. So it's something like that. So we, if we don't recognize our own ultimate nature of mind or the Buddha nature, then this is how we are in suffering. Then it is stated that we even if we have the Buddha Mahamudra, and all the qualities, what is the requirement? Then it is stated that we have to have the two accumulation. That is the accumulation of wisdom and the accumulation of the merits. These two has to be come into the account. Otherwise, even if we have a kind of Mahamudra, and the great Mahamudra and perfection of Mahamudra doesn't make any sense. And these two, all the nature of the qualities, Mahamudra, the nature of all the quality has to be ripened through the accumulation of merits and accumulation of wisdom. So this is very important.
Tati indusane penna ngarang sogetene tat tandanga yosane gondarwa inde Nyima tongmendu tichidusane kandarnga sani Nyima tonyala chachini changurwa nge Nyime jingurdon tonyala ji gargurusana tandanga yose gisego tangarang desegin zamling dodonde tange taban tazongge penda jichine yong sibare jichine yong mesibare kandar pe yung mesibe pe ta ni wo yu pe ji jana Tren Sengi Chidu Juni la, Zamlin de Korajaya, long the Mewa Chasona, Zambul in Kurgumarwa. Not the second Zamlin de Koraja to Marwa Kesi long the Gaswaina, that the Yonda Sig Marwat and Kesi Yon Sibondana. Long the Mangane, long take wangi, Zamlin the Nage and Koraja de Vajguru, Sani Shogi Mantoyala. Niba tela Karigores na Sani Shogi Korajavan ne Java Yinayang, Pai Nyima drinking timber to Yosoma. Nanzo Nimechi Tong to Marwa. Teach it to Sane, Sani Shogi, Nimechi Kotoyala, Tachidanda Kochachi Mambuji Gure de Tene Jigne, that Zamlin Konkengi, Lungi shoot the Yuachi. Niba tela, Tene Nimala drinkingi, timber the Mewachi Chana, Tanga Sani Shogetata, and Aransugi, Nimechi Tong to Yurat in the Jutsu Nichi Gudua. Betin Anshin to Tene Timbale, Torne, Namka Tsama Tsangjan, Yuvaina, Nimechi Serbuj and Tongwan Anshin Chene, and Nyamja Tembuji Gures, Nyambrajali in the Tamjin Jung, Sungweta. Naranzo Samgiranshin Chaja Chimbu Yuvate, Lame Ngote, Narangi Ngoshe, Ngoshimbe Tola, Gongu Yures, Nyambrajagu Yures. Nyambra Kase Jawa in a Tegi, Naranzo la Dip Dinging, Timber Nashing, Namto Nusam, the Kalekapa Tango Yurete. When a Chutsobat and the Kesi Zamazogu Yuna, that in Sanda Ojinago, Log Zamazo do let our Numandojin Chude. So what the Nun Yagu, what you sing in Lulus and Yagure. Then I go to the Kalegal, so what some mamma then do re, then some of the Yatoga, then go Yago do. Betina Jindu, Namtogi, Timbanajin the Patoriagi Sedu, Nyambrashagu Yure, Tindu, Nyambrashawa, Telatene, then you and then Tamche, Jong Yure, Tindu, Juchile. Tayan Kesi Nyamshagi, Gongchig Jamne. Sonum the Cho Masawaina, and you Chatsama you talk to Mare. You then Chatsama Yunala, Yajitu Chosa Gure, then the Dorson Judubategi, Junem Madu Yunten Jong Messi, Sondo, Judubures. Tatika with Jude, Sonum Chosa Gure, Sungere. Tanjipana, Zamlin Kora Janking, Lundigi, Sagudo, Lundigudo, Tinashin Chene. Tene Namkala Timba Meva Chibuyangu, Pengamandu. Tela Nyamdun Zamling, Korea, Longte, Yang, Govan, Shinchene, Nyamja, Jibugi, Yunde, Chatsamaji to Mare, Tainza, Nyambra Jabala, Yunten, Jungurete, Tadong Yunten, Pusum Sobachayaki Chedu, Jituga, Judugures, Ju, Sonam Getso, Sagota, Jimbatango, Surum Songo, Zebagongo, or Zundu, Jegota, Tindu, Kandarchi, Juyons, Dugure, Sayatesongbare. Mado Jumadubaina, Yan intended to Mundun Jong Sigmares.
So, for example, like this is an additional description for that. For example, if I'm here for today and here it's dark, but somehow, if I were to see the sunlight tomorrow, there has to have two different things. The condition there I have to have two different conditions. One is that I need the wind energy, whereby the wind energy can turn over the world and to make possible to see the sun. And other thing is that like they should not have a cloud. If there is cloud, then I couldn't see the sun. Even if the wind is there, wind energy is there, which can turn around the world completely to the side of the sun. But at the same time, if there is cloud, then I couldn't see. So in order to see the sun, for example, if I were to see the sun tomorrow, I have to have these two conditions, that the wind energy, which can turn the world, and also the sun is free from the clouds. And in the same way that like our mind has to be in a meditative equipoise. Why? Because if we don't have this meditation and settle down all our conceptions, then our concept will not allow us to see the reality, to see the nature of our mind. Why? Because it acts as like kind of the clouds in the sky and to obscure the sun. In the same way, our conception also obscure us to see the reality within oneself, the nature of our mind. So therefore, the meditative is needed. For example, like meditation is needed. For example, in the past, what we do is like, if we try to have a clear water, we have to get the water and put in the container and we have to keep there for some time, try to settle down all the dust, sink down and settle there. Otherwise, we don't have like a clear water and to see the clarity. So in the same way, we have to have our meditative equipoise, try to clarify all the conceptual thoughts and events and so on. And other thing is that we have to have the merits, accumulations of merits. And the accumulations of merits is like something like wind energy, which can turn over the world towards the side of the sun. So therefore, these two things has to be there, like the accumulation of wisdom and accumulations of merits. For example, like we have to have like kind of the perfection of the giving, the perfection of the sila, the perfection of the morality, the perfection of the patience, the perfection of the effort, and perfection of the meditation, and so forth. These are all required to have in order to have that kind of like the perfect Mahamudra to be, to have the nature of all the qualities. And also, this will help us to understand better and to how to become a Buddha.
Tene ta tegi je la dursung chubden bat to so tela tene tongni to na junde ni to dang se ya tere ta di kar sung yore sen de tane tene ta ga namju tongni to so sam gen de yo ma ta kesi tongni to so sam ba yin na tongni to na de un de ji gu le se ta di tongni to yue de me gi yi se ta ya ten de da yi se ge chumden de ta de du je da tene tongni 고 잠지 동이 또 봐서 제주도参교 말와 동이 양다와지 또 유바 있나 근데 가르쳐래 생전에 준제니도 당그레 손도 당세도 전에 준제게 토라 이친할래 슈체와지 제용그레스 준제게 토라 냠뇽할래 슈체와지 제용그레스 동이 문에 또요나 대마도 동이 또요 삼 동이 또요서 켈렌 준제게 토라 이치양매 준제게 토라 돈하양 매와 있나 그 돈이 또베기 제일 추구 말해스 그 돈이 또베기 고추 말해스 대송 뭐 비인도 전에 되는 시월하게 준주기 나나 준주 패지 리우 디나로와 셰럽 리우 나나 되네 돈이 또베기 제일 이유 송거래 시월하게 제일 가른 이유로서나 랑기 돈에 삼았다와 있나 랑은에 삼았다와 있나 직된 주제된 고념 투그레스 땅도 강에 대야 창마디 주제에게 강에 태용 거와 뜨나 띠지 뜨바주나 가와 대토야게 치든 배전체바 띠에서 매바지 땅요나 근데 베스 먹가와 배지 녀바 자야게 년가 대명외기 직다 탐람 대대나신 준노롱주 년나 가와 마니나 먹가와 라소바 땅도 남준 직된 게 주제에서야 직송야 요르와 대인도 전에 다 동니게 되는 문내기지 또가지 유라 니송아이나 그런 직된 주제인 거 힘도 그래스 대인도 직된 주제에 대한 문내잖아 지로기 빠빠한다고 지르다 나로 때 말해 난좀 참참디다와 가세다 자손도 지를 빼잖아 자손이 치로라 발람 담으로 망보다와 발람 첨보 요래 충충 요래 발람 통보 요래 담으로 망보로와 제대는 자수 딩 뭐마들 랍치는 요 말했어요. 요와 매바서요. 베테나 신도 전에 간전 직된 주제당 다지 남자 준기 나랑서 류가 예송게 제바 탐제의 치로기 발람난신 지르모도 문에 나로기 힘부터 말와 나로기 힘부 뭐마데 최탐제라신 동반이 세야티 차로로와 티체인도 전에 땅문에게 돈이 양다버져 또요나 근데 칠로기 발람나 신기 근데 진지된 주제게 레와 지된 주제게 제도 되는 배전 근소 상마데 되는 매화지 차도 그래 스트리 배지고 요래서 말다 행동한테 남주 이슈와 난신의 그 강에다 요러 상마데 주제게 조용거와 주제게 제도다 레간다만다 제고래 레간다만다 제도는 당체 연구요래 드니지 재산의 선호당이나 다 배지 갈수그래 삼납동에 르른 나산다만다 마부죠 조용거와 대체인도 전에 되는 돈이 또 봐이나 랑긴 된도 지된 주제인 거념도 그래 시월에 찍대 송도와 근데 니바들 가르송 요래서는 옌던도 제완hin지 전부 랑신기 제와 송바다 돈이 양한 타바죠 또 연도 전에 대들은 마도 빼기 심천라 미니 hin지 쇼타고 지기레스 빼는 아주 참참 엔데 용거와 아 unggola donro ji ngösu ngenggola poywa yin na ta nasa kase yume de nganzu soso ge ta nyong charwa nyong chardu zane me jenda la tene ji nggola do phongken ji la samodana te zi hinji che ya le lawa do ta te modo ji da nggola do pho ma cha do ni ji che de ji ge re de yin ya shu ta bu ji ji men do kan san nggola do pho ge nasa kan de yume shi dang go chu ma wa soso ge tende ge nasa ji nyong che je la 근데 얘라 근데지 중요도 전에 삼로데 고지 지원도 로원도 전에 삼로 초로와도 슈다 용도 대난신인도 전에 근데 지 돈이 마도베기 강에 돈이 마도네 동해 용규 같은데 지 천용도 전에 근데 소소 돈이 또는 동해 탐지를 졸 근데 돈이 마도고 관계 동해 용규 같이 시용도 전에 근데 삼천 남라 미네 인지 정보 ran신기 제도와지 차용그래서 돈이 도근 되우텔라 어떤 송도와 디지털 전에 된다는 데네양 돈이 또나 준제니도 당 세대 송바다
17 Vajra verses. If emptiness is realized, that itself arises as causes and condition, causes and results. Sorry. So what it means here is like when it gives us like kind of investigation, whether one has realized the emptiness or not. So this is a demarcation of trying to understand whether one has known the emptiness or not. So when we talk about the understanding of realization of emptiness, so usually when we talk about the emptiness, like we say that we have realized the emptiness. Usually when we are realizing the emptiness, it's just on the superficial level. For example, like when we understand, even if we understand at the superficial level, it is possible to actually calm down oneself from all this kind of the 8 different kind of the worldly things. For example, so like for example, like it can suppress our the worldly things. Like for example, sometimes when people praise us, we are happy. It is sometimes people disgrace us, then we are unhappy, and so forth. Also, like if we get something, like kind of the things, like if we get something, then we are happy. If we lose something, then we are not happy. These kind of things, then these are all known as there are 8 different kind of worldly things. So we get stuck, we get caught up in these 8 worldly things. So what happens if we were able to understand at least, to realize at least some kind of understanding of the emptiness, this could put down the problems. So therefore, if this is actually suppressed down, then what happens is one could able to have some kind of peace, some kind of happiness within oneself. So for example, like these kind of things are all like kind of the fluctuation of the waves of the ocean. And when we talk about the ocean and the myths in the depth of the ocean, it is stated that it is so stable and so tight there. But somehow when you look at the the superficial level, on the outside level, the waves of the ocean is so fluctuating, ups and downs and so on and so forth. So therefore, in the same way, right now, our understanding of emptiness or emptiness is something like that. So sometimes, fluctuated, like sometimes when you get something, then you are happy. When you lose something, then you are sad and so on and so forth. And because of that, we do a different kind of things, like, and we caught up into different kind of condition, causes and condition, and then we get into the problem. So therefore, the Shantideva stated that the one we have the understanding of emptiness is something kind of superficial, but somehow it could be able to depress or suppress some kind of the 8 different kind of worldly concern. And this is the first thing, this is the first thing we will have it, even if we understand or realize the understanding of the emptiness. And the second thing is, the second quality is that, so after having understanding these, one have a strong sense of compassion to other sentient beings. Why? Because one have already realized, by realizing the emptiness, then one feel compassion to other sentient beings. But one could able to see that all other sentient beings have a problem because of not understanding, because of not realizing the emptiness. For example, it's something like that. If we see somebody hit by the stone, then if you oneself didn't hit by the stone, then one will not realize how difficult the situation or how painful this problem is. But if one have already had this kind of experience by hitting the stone, and at the same time, by having that experience, if one sees somebody else getting stone on their head, one could feel a strong sense of experience, the strong feelings, strong sense of feeling that, you can't bear it. In the same way, one could feel like a strong sense of compassion to other sentient beings, because they are also suffering because of not knowing the emptiness. So these two things, one is like one could able to suppress or depress the 8 worldly concern, and the second one is that, like, one could have a compassionate mind to other sentient beings.
다테네 도르송 좁제 받으러와 또된라야 타담 라버고 그래 소야데 당 안조 남주 차체인데 추루스네 니용고 요로와 대치도 전에 단단데네 지된 숨공기 송백이 거름 난신 체나 당복문에 차자 전부 또바 줄은 해봐지 조고 그래스 된대게 차자 전부 또바 줄은 해베기 강사찌기 되네 연돈 주베기 체도 되네 주룩냠내 난고 그래 세 대송거다 또된 라양 송도와 오늘 차자 전부 내루 또 이내야지 자롱 등수 돌아 이스카스 그래지 네 당연도 남주 누르제 지선 송을 제발라 준출도야 당 다텐데 망부지 송거여와 대인도 자롱기 냠내 등소라 때네 근데 준출두비야 문시 두비야라 소바트지 난고 서리 대인도 전에 차자 전부 또바 줄라 뎀바 짬지 근데 야지 준출도 тө백 니바테 배치 용거 매서리 준출도야야 자롱기 장바 용긴지 고유들이 대치도 전에 차자 전부 또바단 뎀베게 되네 또된 등수게양 양 누르제 진 지선 짐버체베 체도 탑람기 냠내 대야 사버도 고레스 테마도 다 차자 전부 또바 줄라 제삼다 현다케 고 말했으네 위아트네 요 말에 소야 테레.
Here the 18th Vajra verses, even for a realized one, the path of method is especially necessary. So what it means here is like, usually when we are having a Mahamudra practice, and first and foremost is when you have to have the understanding and realization of Mahamudra. And thereafter, one should also have to have the 6 yogas of Naropas and so forth and so on. Why? Because once you have all this kind of understanding and realization, then why do we do these 6 yogas of Narapas? And it's just try to practice or just try to, these 6 yogas Narapas help us to bring our, like kind of, the channels and vein energy to function, to works, and it also help us to show us the miracles in order to bring other followers towards the path of the practice. So therefore, in order to bring other sentient beings towards, to follow the other, follow the practice, to bring other sentient beings, draw towards the practice, we need to have all these things, the practice of the 6 yogas of Narapas. Otherwise, this is not very possible. So therefore, after having the Mahamudra, one should have to practice the 6 yogas of Narapas and so forth.
Dorsung Jugubade Richu Chedum Papa Sutamins. Taya Sanga goes to Jubatella, Ripotu Juba says soon we were Ripotu Juba song, something Kashegi, Ripotu Jubatella. Then Karsung Virusana, G. Sangmada, so big in Namto Meba, Cheda Pawata Juba Soyando. Tene Semganala, Chajilas over Kaya Meba, Nyumba Najing Juba Sayando. Tena Shendu Sujilan Jita Meba, singing Najing Juba Sayando, that nigga Juba and Damanambo is soon. That into Tensoyan Rede. Richu Nane, Ripoturju, Jube Nane, Juba Chebodon Poshu, Juba Yashude, Jitanka Tona Shena, Yoda Meva, Chugatona Shena, Tenesi Yamlea, Kixel Pondoya, Chaya, Juba, Yashude Kazana, Tenesurum Samasoyate, Stan Jitan Sumugi, Ripoturju, Juba Yashude, Trumsoyate, somebody.
The 19th Vajra is the superior conduct of realized awareness is discipline. So what it means is like, usually when they are saying like, when you have to practice, you have to go beyond the practice of clean and unclean and so forth. So this is also one way of practicing. And also there's like kind of one goes beyond the fear and unfear and so forth, which means it talks about practice like a lions and so forth. Whatever it is, the practice, then also like what it says is like, when you reach to a certain stage, you have to behave like a lion, that to come out from fearsome, and you have to go beyond that fear and unfear, and also you have to go beyond the cleanliness and uncleanliness and so forth. But whatever it is, these are the kind of the practice the people it was stated there. But what Lord Dickinson will state is that the ultimate discipline, ultimate awareness, the superior conduct is the discipline. So therefore, the superior conduct of realized awareness is discipline. So therefore, the vows is very important. This is the supreme conduct of all the rest of the other practices.
Then there's on Nishuba, choose Metanyan Cheverme, Sondoa, Tate Sonduzane, Tayanji, Tawan Tombola Pedankingi, Lama, Tendegi, Jubalayan, some, when I just say Shivala Nanjing, Jubanaki Tende, Yubare, Mix Egitinichi, Talungagi, Chawakayan Nangi Mevado Europe, Han Jeduzane, Nalenda Jube Gausun, Shivala, Nalenda Piagi Tadicherwa. Kansan Kong Legacy Nangumarwa Niede, then Shelachuga Pigure, then Sanjuric Pigure, Titemain Bata, Peche Niedevanajing around so part Jevaina, Niku Devanajin and Junangdoa, then Nalend and Piag and Chachicherwa. That thing is an Tentegi Juba Tela Karasungures and to make Juba Secretariam Jim, Juba Kayame Juba. What did you do an to make Juba Tanzola, Teneji? To me, Jubal Nana, Legacy Kayam Mevanaji, Teddy Samutandoa, Saya, Nia, Tene tes chilo roya roncha nyandu sta jolam tenso ma do shinda ke mewa do ji ngun nang gyur adana jiden songong gi shiwala na shin gi tumi gi jebala nenken ina yang sem gi thola nyamleng gi chu sum ni bar gu yores kesi sem gi thola nyamleng gi chu sum meba ina tene tumi gi jebala nang gen so tichen chag mares dendu tumi gi jebala nang gen ji ina yang sem gi thola nyamleng gi tamcha sum ni bar gu re songbare de mena nyana chebra mes ta tamcha sum sen che khar gu resna di ndruwen somba na jere dikpa chi meja sing dikpa chi meja be tamcha gewam phusum soba chi somba na ji gewam phusum soba drube ki tamcha mendruwa di tola de simchen la ningji me pangwa simchen la de zewa ningji chimbo jeba oda tende gi nyamlen gi chusumde düme gi jebala nenki tenso gi tugi na nyamlen di gores 대시 시와라라인 대송은 냠는데 니버도 요레스 요사레 말이 주나도 준주다나 하고 그래서 말데 이제 된 송을 어 대인도 전에 dü메기 쥐발은 nen케나야 추송 니버도 냠술랭고레서야다 대송발에 어디 인체 대기 드는 알아서 대랭기 주된당 드네 다금 주변 내두게 값 두바 어다 자상지 드네 차와인
The 20th was reverses. If one is not endowed with the three Dharma practices, one is not different from listener and self-realized Buddhas. What it means is like, for example, when one reached to the highest level of the practice, for example, the high level of the view and so forth. And sometimes people like act like kind of the Shantideva. Like we are commonly known, the Shantideva, you know, what happened was he was nearly kicked out from the Nalanda University. The reason why is that when we look at him, we see only three things: eating, then walking or defecating or sleeping. These three things. So that's why we don't know what is there in the quality within him, and people are trying to kick him out. But somehow we don't see the inner quality of such person. But what Lord Gyaltsen stated is that even if a person like a Shantideva should have to have three different kind of the Dharma practices, that is the practice within our mind. And these three things are the first one is that one should not do all the evils, not doing all the evils. And the second one is to accomplish all the practices of the, do all the virtuous deeds. And the third one is like kind of the compassionate, loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings. So if somebody asks, if we see that the Shantideva, to have whether the Shantideva have these three qualities or not, we should have to look at the Bodhicharya Avatara. So then we can know that. Then we would know that whether this person is not. Otherwise, if you don't have these three things, then it doesn't matter even if we are in a higher level of the understanding, but we fall in the category of the listeners and self-realized Buddhas. That means the Shravakasyanas. And we would never become a Bodhisattva Vasyana. So therefore, one should have to have these three things in our mind stream. And so this is up to here. We have finished all the now the units of the vital points of view, meditation, and conduct. All the now the units of the vital points of view, meditation, and conduct. So we can stop here now.
No, yo son de tamche zebani tomne nibe dana bamje jega nanje balong choba yeseben zolen do jo lama gongam zamara sorwa Chodo goze rinwara surwande, Jelle darjen jebara surwande, Lama dandrava mebara chenje lo, Jambira bavi chidra chenpa dam, Gundo zambo teyang tejinde, Teta kunji jesu andalo jir, Gewande da tamje rando, Sanje kuzun nyebe chenlavat, Chunye menjura dembe chenla dan, Gende me chen debe chenla je, Chedra nguyen mana, Drubar sho dadang, Gonde tam jije, Duzundu sabadang yube, Geve zawa, Dada simchen tamche nyudu lanta meba yang tabura zobe chanchu rambu je tobar ju je shija kunzi kunchin chu je dianzhi nela wang tun de gongba rinchen bar je denpa sinteba xie zhu tu sam gong bian zhen zhu ren jie chang zhu sem zhu ren bo ma jie ba nam jie zhu ru jie jie pa nyam ba me ba rai gong ne gong du be wa zhu la so da san yin gong da Depending on the
So see you tomorrow evening, everybody.
Thank you, Khenchen La, and we'll see you again tomorrow. We have time flew. We only have 2 more sessions with you. We're looking forward to see you again tomorrow.